Welcome,
Hey,
everybody, to the Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode number 131. It's me, Alex, with one Addy. And he's
yeah,
already said his bit, I guess. I must have missed it.
yeah. I said it before you started the intro, so I'm not sure if it's on recording even.
Oh, god damn it. Pink. Pink's here,
Hello
too.
there.
Oh, alright. So, Addy, you got anything coming out on your channel?
No.
Okay. Pink, you got anything coming out on your channel?
Yes, I will actually be getting those Civ videos. I think I've actually got one uploading right now, maybe. It might be uploaded at this point, it might not, I don't know. But I'm finally going to get my Civ 6 videos out this week. That I said I was going to do last week, but they're actually uploading, so there's hope.
Should we
Outside of that, I haven't recorded anything, so no, nothing else outside of that.
Alright. Should we start doing multiplayer Civ again, or should we just, hold off until, soon comes back?
I'm good either or, because I don't really get burnt out on Civ, so if you will, we probably shouldn't, and we should wait for soon. But if you want to do just a Civ duos thing, we could just certainly do that. I wouldn't mind.
I feel like when it's just the two of us, it's going to always end in us ganging up on the AI.
That is true. We
Introducing...
do need that third party there to create some chaos.
Yeah. Especially because soon, you know? If soon gets bored, one of us gets nuked. So, who are you playing in the Civ game?
Poland. I'm doing Poland because I wanted to try for a culture victory because they've got a lot of bonuses to their relics and whatnot, and I didn't want to dive straight into Grand Colombia and Maya because I figured that's what everyone's going to be doing nowadays. So I had wanted to do something after this latest update, but I didn't want to do something with the new civs because I'm just sort of learning with new civs on my own time,
Okay.
and I've just been enjoying it better that way. And once I've finished up with my Poland run, I'll probably go with the Maya next.
I'm interested in trying the Maya. I don't give a shit about Grand Colombia because just LOL, another domination Civ, but...
Right.
Would you consider Poland your main?
Honestly, at this point, I feel like it because that was probably the second Civ that I took a run with. First was a Cree. I really did enjoy the Cree, but I feel like Poland is so much better for my playstyle because they're very versatile and they're very strong in domination as well. And that's usually my go-to after I've decided somebody's settling too close to me.
I feel like Poland's also got a lot more interesting of a playstyle, whereas the Kree, I think, are a pretty good just vanilla playstyle.
Yeah,
Because, their whole
but
benefit is just, oh, your cities do better at trading with each other. Whoop-de-doo.
right, they have no bonuses to any victory types, but they're still a very fun Civ.
I mean, it's like two different schools of thought, right? On one hand, they don't have any bonuses to any victory types in particular, but at the same time, they are definitely one of the more malleable civs that can try anything.
Right. They're not like any of the others who, Maya, Korea, they're like hard focused on the science type stuff. Or Congo, where they are like really just built for culture and they can't even try for a religious victory because they aren't allowed to have a religion.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's...
I think I definitely find the more malleable civs to be more fun because you don't find yourself so dependent on your start locations and your uh, surrounding surrounding civilizations. Is you kind of just start off and you make up your plan as you go. With a lot of other civs, you kind of make up this plan in your mind, and then you spawn in, and then you see your start, and you're like, "Oh, there's deserts to my north and tundra to my south. Let me re-roll for the next 2 hours until I get that start I really wanted."
Yeah, I mean, I think the primary thing you can have in Civ is adaptability. And I don't want this Civ talk to go on for too long, but,
Right.
like, I think it's another thing that's worth noting is that since any victory type other than science gets countered by another civ that goes for that victory type.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're playing the Zulu and you run into, let's say, like a particularly dickish Japan or Mongolia, like, oh, congrats, that the victory is now that much harder.
Right.
Whereas if the Kree were going for a domination victory, then they see that their neighbors are the Zulu. They're like, you know what, never mind, religion.
Right.
Which, I would say a general problem with the game is that the science victory type has that advantage.
Yeah, I agree. There should be more counters to it. I just don't see how they could properly introduce any counters, because right now it seems like the only options for countering science would be that spies, if they can sabotage the
Spaceport.
what is it? What is the district called for the rocketry?
Spaceport.
Spaceport. Sorry, I could barely hear you.
Do I need to get closer to the mic?
Let me actually just turn my volume up. I think it's only on 4. There we go. So, yeah, it's like outside of spies, there's not really much you can do, especially once the opponents have launched their space missions. It's like, yeah, maybe you could feasibly get your own space missions launched and then do all those projects that help boost the time it will take, or lessen it rather. But outside of that, it's like there's really nothing, and I think there should be.
I don't think that they will do anything, honestly. At this point, I can't see them adding anything to the game other than more, like, luxuries and more civs.
Yeah, that is true, because the game's been out for a significant amount of time now, and basically they've got their base game complete. I think they've even said that during the development updates, once they announced their little year pass thing this year. They were like, yeah, we didn't really want to add any new game mechanics to it because we feel it's strong enough. And it's like, okay.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, are you sure about that? I hear you. I think you're wrong in some spots, but I mean, okay.
I think the real answer is they're probably just building up for Civ 7.
Probably. Like, yeah, definitely at this point in time, it's like if they come up with any new concepts for Civ 6, they're going to say, that's a great concept. Let's hold it for the next installment.
Oh, yeah. I'm really curious how Take-Two will try to make Civ 7 filch people for more money.
In-game casino with real money.
Yeah, in-game casino.
They're gonna have multiple leaders for the civilizations, but they all cost money.
Yeah.
So
They cost a subscription. You need to pay $1 every hour you play as that character. Just any character.
All the civs are free, but the leaders are paid. So if you don't have a leader, you get stuck with like just America.
Right.
You don't get.
It'll be like base Rainbow Six from way back when you start with recruit.
Yeah.
And you only get recruit. It's like, okay, here's your little crappy nation of whatever we're gonna generically name this thing, and then here's a base leader. Go rock the world.
You get America, and America's president is recruit.
Yeah, that I guess that's accurate. That probably would be their go-to for a default nation.
What if
here's America, here's Shield Recruit. Have some fun.
What if it's, instead of being recruit, they just give you like the most bland, boring, nothing, unknown leader of that nation's history? Ah, you're America. Start off with Franklin Pierce.
Franklin Pierce. Yes. World renowned.
You get you get the Emperor of California, or whoever he was. I forget, Norton.
Yeah, Edward Norton.
People actually have modded Edward Norton into the game.
Yep, I've definitely downloaded him.
I don't remember.
He should be the actual leader for the next Civilization game.
Well, I mean, it still wouldn't be weirder than what they did with Civilization 2.
Who was 2?
Civilization 2 had like where like Greece's leader was Athena.
Oh,
Yeah.
America's president is a bald eagle with an
I was
SMG.
I was about to make that same joke. Bald eagle leads America.
All right. So, I don't know if there's anything coming out on my channel. I just upload things when they happen. So, on the group channel this week, we've got Streets of Rage 4 Part 3 going up on the 22nd, Monday, my birthday.
Yeah.
We're going to celebrate my birthday by releasing a video where I'm not playing.
You were there.
I was there, that is correct. And on the 26th, on the 26th, us playing Channel A through Tabletop Simulator. And that was it just the three of us, or was Soon there for that one?
Oh, it was the three of us.
That was the 3 of us.
Okay. So that's what's coming out on the channel this week. Pink, what you been up to this week, man?
Okay, what have
Don't
I been
say
up
Civ.
to? No Civ this week. There was a new show released on Netflix, I want to say yesterday, called... Why did I forget? It's called Floor is Lava. And my family, I guess they were really hyped about that, because, I had never heard of it before yesterday, and they were all like, turn on Netflix, like, hey, this new show's out, let's watch it. And I'm like, oh, what are we watching? And the premise is, I assume you're both familiar with this show, Wipeout?
Yes.
Pink. I don't think I understood the name of the show correctly. Is the show titled Florida is Lava?
Floor is lava, not
Floor,
Florida.
all right.
Floor.
It would have been
just
funnier
the
if
name
it was
floor.
Florida, though.
Yeah, Floor is lava, but it's actually just sinking. Whoops. So, yeah.
So is it like a sequel series to Hide and Go Seek and Peekaboo?
I don't know what those are.
I'm joking. It's
Okay, I realized that after I spoke, so yeah, now I'm dumb.
It happens to the best of us. Unfortunately, you are the worst of us, though. So,
But yeah, so Pink, it's continuing Wipeout in freaking ripping off
Yeah.
Japanese game shows. Yeah.
It's basically Wipeout, but in a room. Like, so the Wipeout courses, I want to say, were really large and covered a very decent amount of land.
Yeah.
I think we've all seen the show, right?
yeah,
I have.
Alex?
I absolutely have. Something must be going on with my audio that you keep not hearing me.
Okay, yeah, definitely, because I did not hear anything until I asked your name.
Yeah, me neither, honestly.
Okay.
And Alex is the one recording, so it'll all come out fine on his end.
Yeah.
But for us...
I think the OBS actually is set to record me higher than everything else because I am generally a bit quieter. The levels, like, even though I've set you guys way lower, your guys' levels would still end up being way higher.
Because we're just so loud and obnoxious,
Yeah. And despite that, when I was editing the freaking Don't Starve Together, WJ is whispering and the rest of us are doing freaking like end ASMR.
Anti-ASMR.
Anti-ASMR.
Not anti-ASMR, and ASMR.
And
ASMR for ends. Really, really quiet.
I see. I thought you were saying we were really, really loud.
Yeah, I do record at really low audio levels, don't I?
Yeah.
I'm recording at the max for OBS though. That's weird.
It's never true the max. You can put on gain and shit like that.
Go above the max.
I tried that once. It caused the fucking thing to blow out the mic every time, or blow out the audio.
You need to set it up with gain, with noise. What's the word I'm looking for?
Reduction.
Noise gate. You need to set up a noise gate so you won't blow out the mic all of the freaking time you speak and shit like that. I spent so much time freaking figuring this shit out. If you want, I can tell you how I have mine set up after we're done recording. But yeah.
All right.
Sounds good. So we've all seen the show Wipeout. It's basically this new show is Wipeout, but they're in a room. The floor is lava,
The floor is lava instead of water.
Yeah.
Are all of the walls the walls with the fists?
No, they are not. There
They should
are
be.
no. I want to say there are no mechanical objects in the room because if you got those wet, that could be very dangerous.
Man, being a TV show
So
producer in the 2000s must have rocked. You could get any TV show successful on the air by having a bit where people get punched in the dick.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so true though. So yeah, no walls of fists, but I want to say the main elements they've taken from Wipeout are the fact that the obstacles, there are a lot of balls in this show.
Oh, geez.
And and you're eliminated when you fall off a obstacle and into the water. So I noticed that a lot of their map designs were recycled. I mean, they have a different theme in every room, but you'll notice, like, I want to say in both episode 1 and episode 2, in the middle of the room, there's this pyramid. So in the first episode, the gimmick, I suppose we'll call it, for the room was like ancient Egypt. So they've got, sarcophaguses, temples, and they had their little pyramid in the center of the room. Episode or 2 later, they've got another pyramid in the room, but this time the gimmick is, I want to say, outer space. So the pyramid has been transformed and remodeled into a, what is that thing called? A launch capsule, I want to say.
I see.
So it's, I think they are working with a fairly tight budget because you'll see a lot of the same kind of gimmicks recycled throughout the show. And I don't think it's nearly as exciting or entertaining as Wipeout was because the rooms feel very short. The commentator is not entertaining, at least not to me. I don't find him funny whatsoever.
They never are nowadays.
Yeah. And overall, I think it was an all right show. If it gets renewed for another season, I will be surprised because I would say it has all the longevity of a snail in the sun.
Ooh.
Or insult.
Or insult.
You see, like Takeshi's Castle and Kiniku Banzuke, they did this shit right. Because Takeshi's Castle has lore. So they don't need to remake every freaking obstacle every week because it's legitimately supposed to be just a castle's defenses. They can just reuse the sets.
Right.
And Kiniku Banzuke had nothing. It was legitimately just a freaking an endurance test, and that's all it was sold as. So people went in, did the endurance test. Like 15 people won it, and then they remodeled it.
Right. See, I think shows like the American Ninja Warrior or whatever it was benefit more from the more Olympic-like settings where you're actually seeing actual athletes compete on the courses. So they wouldn't have to redesign the courses every time they do it because it's not really the wipeouts you're tuning in to watch. It's just see athletic people do athletic things. But with a show like Wipeout and Floor is Lava, Florida is sinking, the main gimmick there is that you want to see average people do dumb things and fall in water. So, it works for a while, but any show, I don't know if Wipeout is still on the air. I don't know how long that lasted. But any show like that has a very short lifespan to me.
I'm pretty sure.
Especially if the commentator isn't funny, like the current host of Floor is Lava.
I think Wipeout went until like 2013 or 2016. And
Right.
they started something like 2008 or so.
Right. I remember when it started. I just didn't know how long it went for. I remember they had got a game at some point, and when that game
It
came out,
had
I
many.
was so confused because I didn't realize it was still going on the air because I figured it would have been taken off at that point.
There were like 4 games, Pink.
I believe it.
I think there were 2 or 3 for the Wii, and there was one for the Kinect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's actually something I want to note. I heard the other day, over in England, they got a game show, a puzzle show or something, where it's like in an Aztec temple or something, right?
Right.
Crystal Maze, I think?
That sounds like a drug.
Yeah, I know it does. That's what I thought too. But I was watching the Yogscast videos, whatever. But one of the guys mentions at some point that a friend of his tried out for the show. They had to take an IQ test. And ordinarily with intelligence tests, you're trying to get above a minimum, right?
Right. Oh, are they going for dumb people for this show?
Yeah, the IQ test is there to make sure you aren't too smart.
Reality TV, everyone.
I just that is hilarious to me, you know.
Absolutely.
That's still better than freaking shit like American Idol, where the contracts say that they can do whatever with your public image and you can sue for defamation.
It's yeah. It's. I mean, you guys know I'm not so quick as Mike to go like, oh, the decline of society, but yeah, reality TV was a pretty big sign. I mean, it'd be fine if it was just like focusing on people's lives, but when it's like, hey, watch this guy get punched in the dick, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It's Jackass.
It's Jackass. It's Jackass. You are super right. Okay. I'm done. Somebody else talk.
I vocally dislike Jackass, by the way. So.
All right. I don't think I did anything else this week. Outside of that, it's like I definitely watched some Stranger Things with my family yesterday because oddly enough, the littlest one turned it on for some reason unknown to me. But yeah, that was entertaining as usual.
The littlest one? How little?
I don't know.
Too little.
I don't know any of my siblings' ages. They're just people to me. It's like, hey, you exist. I don't know how long you've been here, but you definitely are here.
Yeah, that's also a thing in my family. Nobody knows how old they are. The only reason we know how old I am is because I was born in 2000, so it's easy
Right.
to count.
See, that's when Volcano was born, and she's the only one who I can remember because of that. It's like,
can you not
so
remember
easy.
the age of your twin?
No, I barely ever remember my own age. How many times have I been on here? Like, I'm, let me count on my fingers. Oh, yeah. 20, 22, 23, 24? I'm 30.
30. Oh, damn. 30. I'm 30 and I graduated high school 6 years ago. Oh, shit.
It took me a while. It was so slow.
30 and 40 are just freaking eternal memes for me because of the Boogeyman.
I didn't know which Boogeyman you were talking about at first.
The movie, obviously. Because, W, have you seen the clip of the Boogeyman in Tough Enough?
In Tough Enough. The only Tough
Speaking
Enough...
of reality TV...
The only Tough Enough clip I can recall is the woman saying her favorite match of all time was...
yes!
Fucking... Oh, shit. Who was it?
Melina and Alicia Fox.
Melina and Alicia Fox. I gotta admit, out of that generation, that particular generation of women's wrestlers, yeah, those two probably were the best.
Absolutely.
But, like, yeah.
My favorite match of all time ever,
She couldn't have even gone back a couple of years before that to Trish Stratus and Mickie James.
Trish and Lita before that, and then...
I mean, if
I don't know,
someone
but beyond them, there like wasn't a women's division.
I mean, hey, Alundra Blaze had a really good German suplex.
But who did she ever wrestle?
Uh,
I don't even know if Bull and Kano was WWE or if that was just what they did in Japan. I don't remember.
WWE had a lot of transfer over with other companies back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of wild in hindsight.
Yeah, it wild times they were.
But yeah, there's this clip of the Boogeyman on Tough Enough because you had to be 30 years old at most to be able to actually go on Tough Enough. I from what I remember, and they're like,
I
yo, so how old are you again? And he goes 40. No, wait, 30.
I don't think it was you had to be 30 in order to join. I think it was 30 was the cutoff for when you could join because I think he was too old to be a part of the show.
He was 40.
What's that?
He was 40.
Yeah, I'm saying 30 was a cutoff. So if you were 31, you couldn't join the show because they were probably looking for younger prospects, people who would actually be wrestling for a longer period of, or let me rephrase that, for a period of longer than 2 years. I mean, all credit to the Boogeyman. He did it for at least 6.
Yeah. Yeah, and from what I remember, they because of him being actually 40, they disqualified him from Tough Enough, and then he showed up on live TV like 2 weeks later.
Right.
Guys, can I be perfectly,
hey.
honest?
Yeah.
I entirely forgot that the Wrestling Boogeyman existed until this conversation.
I don't blame you. I'm pretty sure he forgets that he exists sometimes.
But they still bring him on for the occasional guest spot, don't they?
Yeah, he had an appearance in a Royal Rumble a couple years back.
Why?
Good question. I don't know the answer.
Funny joke.
It's one of those cases where a guy did nothing for like a couple of years, and WWE is like, oh, legend. Like, what?
I mean, he worked himself into a job at WWE. He is a legend.
Yeah, you can't discredit passion.
I guess you got a point.
No, I mean he legitimately bamboozled the staff long enough for them to think he was 30 years old.
I don't know how.
He deserves it. He made a fool of themselves, or he made a fool of the WWE. He deserves it.
Speaking of people, kind of working the company, did anyone hear a story very, very recently released about Adam Cole getting hired when he was, I don't remember how old he was, but he was younger than 21, because that's a key part of the story here. So back in 2010 or 11, when I want to say that was around the time where WWE was bringing in a lot of new people for FCW, and Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed, was a part of that developmental batch. So, company wants Xavier Woods. They email a wrestler called Austin. That wrestler is actually Adam Cole. And they told him that he had a job guaranteed. He just has to show up, work hard, etc., etc., etc. It's the typical bring you into developmental contract thing that they do for everybody nowadays. So Adam Cole has only been wrestling a little while at this point. He's so excited. He emails him back, sends him his picture. WWE goes like, "Oh, sorry, you're not the Austin we were looking for. We were looking for Austin Creed,
Austin,
There's a big mistake here because Adam Cole is a short, pasty white kid, and then we've got Xavier Woods, who's black and very, very jacked for his size."
He sends them a picture. They're like, "Shit, did he put on a tan in the meantime between he took this picture or what?"
Man, he looks way different now than he did when he was in TNA.
I like the idea of Adam Cole just going, Michael Jackson disease.
So yeah, the talent, what is that position called? Talent relations kind of got bamboozled with that one there. So they actually did have Adam Cole do a guest appearance. He was featured in a bar during a CM Punk Straight Edge Savior segment. But like I said, he wasn't 21 at the time, so he was drinking like water. Just a random ass story to throw in there while we're talking about WWE kind of not being completely aware of what they're doing down in talent relations.
I mean, do they ever?
Not usually.
I mean, I think it's going to be, in terms of people like screwing, like the WWE screwing up and giving people benefits they shouldn't have, there'll never be a better story than Pillman, but that's a pretty good one.
What did Pillman not get away with back in the 90s?
Living?
That's it, though.
Yeah, I guess you got to pay the piper at some point, don't you? Oh man, I was reminded the other day of the bit where Taker and Flair were doing a promo in like 2001 or 2002, right?
Right.
And the fans were still being assholes because they were still used to Austin. So they were saying, "What?" after every thing Undertaker would say, even though it was supposed to be a serious emotional promo between two legends of the business.
Right.
So Taker just turns to the audience and says, "Say what if you fuck your sister?" Or something like that. And the audience goes, "What? Oh."
Nice.
The audience are such shitheads. I enjoy when wrestlers can get one over on them.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty childish of Taker, but he got him to fucking stop, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wrestling fans are the worst.
Speaking of wrestling, I recently found a like Japanese hardcore wrestling promotion that I have not heard of. So I was like,
God.
I was like, you know what? I'll check out the match, and the match that comes up is Terry Funk, and I have never seen a Terry Funk match in my life, mind you. So, couple of notes: Terry Funk, surprisingly good, like freaking spaghetti western heel.
Oh yeah.
There was a surprisingly large amount of technical wrestling in this hardcore match that featured barbed wire ropes and explosions. As there was actually not too much involvement of those things. I was surprised. It's like they were actually trying to wrestle.
That's why if you're ever going to make a list of the hardcore wrestlers who weren't complete shit, Terry is usually the first. Even though Sabu was a fucking train wreck in the ring, didn't Sabu have a rather famous quote of like, "You have to build the hardcore upon actual wrestling"?
Yeah. It's like I will often go back whenever we discuss ECW and say Sabu, RVD, Terry Funk. Those to me are the three guys that could be complete garbage wrestlers and rely entirely on hardcore stuff. But if you broke it all down to the basic fundamentals of wrestling, they were actually rather good. It's like RVD was, I don't know how he was so incredibly athletic, because he looks like your average guy to me. He was never he never had an impressive build. He never looked sleek. He never looked buff. He just sort of was. There was like nothing special to him. But the athleticism he was able to put in everything he did was just incredible.
And I also think it's notable that before RVD went to ECW, he had multiple like large technical wrestling matches.
Yes.
And that was a weird thing to find out.
Mm-hmm.
He also sold like a beast, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah, RVD is probably one of the best sellers. Like he usually doesn't oversell, but sometimes he does. But not.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't do it as much as Shawn Michaels or Dolph does.
I was about to say, it's like, I want to say Flair, Michaels, and RVD were some of the earliest pioneers that I can personally remember of overselling moves to make them look way more impactful than they ever had any right to. But sometimes with a lot of those guys as well, they would oversell it to a degree where it just looks stupid.
Yeah.
I want to say there was an RKO that Rob Van Dam took one time.
That he sold
where he just, it goes the complete vertical face plant. Or I guess it wouldn't be a face plant because he's landing on the top of his skull. But
But
yeah, looks like he's taking a DDT while he's taking an RKO.
if I remember correctly, he landed on like his neck or something. That's what it looked
Right.
like. Then Orton's hands ran in the way.
Right.
Oh, man. Would Orton have gotten angry at him at that? Because wasn't that one of the times when Orton was actually quite a bit younger and more dickish?
Absolutely, because that would have been between the time period of 2006 and 2004 at the earliest. So yeah, he probably would have been pretty upset. I don't know how much sway Randy would have had at the time though. So it's not like Van Dam was in any real jeopardy because he had already been established at that point. I want to say.
I would say that the company would have still liked Orton better than him even at that time, but the thing is, RVD can always go to another company.
Right.
Whereas Orton can't go to another company and still be the golden boy.
Right.
Not
back then, but now I feel like if he wanted to, he could just go to AEW with Jericho. Be like, hey, make me a top player, guys.
Yeah.
It's like he's already very good friends with Cody, and Cody's probably trying to round up all his buddies. Because, that always goes well in wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if they reformed Legacy.
I could honestly see that as a nostalgia pull that Cody would do.
If he can get Ted back in the ring, yeah. I mean, me personally, I'd love to see it because I was a big fan of all those guys, but yeah.
I think it'd be more problematic to try and get Ted Jr. back in the ring than it would be to get Orton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but like, I wish they would also do that with their worst gimmicks. Like Cody dresses up as Stardust. Randy puts on the blue trunks and starts doing the overdrive again.
Oh no!
I don't know any of DiBiase's gimmicks. Any of them?
Yeah.
He didn't have a gimmick before Legacy, I don't think,
or after.
I feel like he was brought in specifically for that.
Yeah, he was. Him and who was the fucking what's his face? They had a Samoan dude with him too, didn't they?
Yes, they did. It was what was his name?
It wasn't an Anawai, I know that. They dropped him almost immediately.
Yeah. Let me Google up Legacy real quick.
Yeah.
That's gonna bug me if I don't figure it out.
Now, despite the fact that they're a Legacy, they didn't actually bring Dusty or Ted Sr. in very much, did they?
Manu!
Who?
That's a good question. And apparently Sim Snuka was a part of it at one point. I have no idea when.
That would have been like the very first episode and they immediately got rid of him. Like, Sim Snuka is probably the Rick Rude to their Degeneration X, you know?
I don't know. Rick Rude that actually helped them have the X at one point.
Right, but he was only there for the first bit.
Yeah.
Huh. What were we talking about?
Ted did not have any gimmicks before that, and he barely had any gimmicks after that.
Well, he had the little bit where Maurice was with him.
And that was weird.
Yeah.
Whenever I think of Ted DiBiase Jr., I'm actually thinking of Alex Riley. Why?
That is an undue insult to Ted Jr. Like, I mean, WWE never treated Ted Jr. right, but he was decent.
He was, I would say it was more than decent. He was very solid as a worker. He to me, he had all the elements of a top player, but he didn't have the, first of all, he didn't have the looks. He didn't really stand out from the crowd when he was tagging with Cody. They're both interchangeable. And then Randy, well, he was their leader, he's he obviously did things that set him apart from those two, and he even didn't need to do that because he had already been established. Two, he didn't have great microphone skills, and three, he just didn't ever have anything going for him where he would stand out apart from anyone else on the rosters that he was a part of at those times. Because if you go back when they first started pushing him, once Legacy was over, he was on Raw, and you had a lot of guys that were just as talented as him on Raw at that time, so that didn't go anywhere. Then they moved into SmackDown, and again, they had just as many guys that were as talented as him on SmackDown. And then he went to being Cody's kind of understudy at the time while Cody was busy being Intercontinental Champion. And I think because they would never really allow him to break away from being, yeah, he was in a Legacy that one time and he's a really good friend of Cody's, I think that damaged his character to a point where he could never actually recover from it. Because when you spend like 2 or 3 years saying, yeah, this dude used to be Cody's partner, and now he's still sort of his partner, but he's not really his partner because they're not tagging, but he's, managing him while Cody is out doing IC title matches and whatnot. It's like there comes a point where I don't think the fans could be expected to care about Ted DiBiase even when he started to break free from Cody, because it was just the same old song and dance that they've been doing for several years at that point. It's like Ted was the one who they wanted him to break out, but they didn't want him to break out in a way that to me felt organic. They always wanted to build it up in a way where, yeah, eventually he'll reach his boiling point. Eventually he'll become their Batista, but it never actually happened.
I mean, just people that they wanted to build up, but they didn't want to build up is a general description for every young guy in WWE after the year.
That is very true. It's like he was in that same time frame as Evan Bourne. They apparently really, really, really want to do big things with Evan Bourne at several points throughout his career.
And then drugs happened.
And then drugs happened. And that's what happens when creative takes too long to pull the trigger. You turn your talent to drugs. I hope you're all happy.
Yeah.
Just as Carvidi.
You drove him to the weed.
To the weed. I mean, Junior also had the classic legacy of problem of, well, he's Junior, so we want to have him continue Senior's gimmick, but at the same time, at that point, he ceases to be a person and he's instead just an extension of Senior.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what they did, because they did give him the $1 million championship. That was during his tenure with Maurice. They even gave him Virgil, but Ted himself just wasn't capable of carrying a $1 million man type of gimmick. So it never stuck. None of the managers they ever gave him stuck. And I don't know. I guess they gave him plenty of chances, but nothing ever really took off.
I mean, we can say that they gave him different gimmicks, but being given a gimmick does not necessarily mean they gave him a chance.
That is true.
And if he gets handed bad gimmick, well, it's also the thing of, like, with wrestling, they deliberately hand wrestlers bad gimmicks a lot of the time.
Right, to see hey, here's a terrible gimmick, here's a terrible segment. Let's see how you do with it, kid. And I think it's kind of wrong to be handing people intentionally bad things to work with in the hopes that they'll be able to make it good and then reward them upon making good. When, to me, it should be creative's job. It should be the writer's job to be creating good gimmicks, good segments, good TV that people actually want to watch, that good wrestlers can make into great products. You shouldn't be giving them bad elements in the hopes that they'll make something great out of it. You should be giving them good elements in the hopes that they will either do just as good as you want them to or better.
Another thing that's really worth noting is that there are a lot of times where someone in creative really gets stuck on a stupid shit idea, but they love it. Something like, how Vince Russo always wanted to do the Beaver Cleaver gimmick. Always. Right. That was his passion. He wanted that gimmick to come around. And for the longest time, Vince told him, no, shove it. And eventually he conceded, like, okay, we'll try Beaver Cleaver. They immediately shut it down after 1 or 2 weeks because it's one of the worst gimmicks in history. But still, at the end of the day, WWE does value its creative writers a lot. And so they do give them little services by including the gimmicks that they know are complete shit. And somebody has to get shafted with them.
Right.
So I guess they figure we'll go ahead and haze the younger guys while we're at it and kill two birds with one stone.
Womp womp. What
Remember
when they gave Natalia the farting gimmick?
I do.
You know, that gimmick that is entirely dependent on audible sounds and doesn't translate at all to wrestling itself?
Yes.
What a stupid gimmick that was. And it wasn't even hazing a younger guy either, because Natalia had already been there for a decade at that point.
We've also got to keep in mind backstage politics. Older wrestlers always resent younger wrestlers because they represent the end of their careers.
Right.
And, like, let's say a talentless hack like Kelly probably was pretty scared of Natalia because Natalia could actually fucking wrestle. So it would not shock me for a moment if, like, the Bella Twins or Kelly politicked that into Natalia, you know?
Yeah, that's actually true.
And I hate saying that because I know that someone, like, if somebody actually watched this podcast, they could hear that, and then people being as dumb as they are, they'd repeat it as gospel.
Confirmed. Oh yeah, remember back when Kelly? Yeah. That's exactly what's going to happen now.
Keeping on the topic of creative, I just wanted to bring this up because I found it a funny story. So apparently, Stone Cold came up with his own game. Well, take all of this with a grain of salt because it came from Stone Cold. But
take it with the salt shaker.
Yeah. So apparently, Stone Cold saw like a true crime show on TV about the Ice Cold Killer or whatever. This dude. This American serial killer, and he really liked the gimmick. He really liked how evil that dude was and how he could turn it into a freaking wrestling gimmick. But multiple people have been the Iceman at that point, so he went to creative and he was like, "Yo, I really like how this serial killer's character could work for wrestling. Could you guys try to make that transition?" And then, like a week later, he just got back a list of names that are pawns of on Cold and Ice, and that's how he got the name Stone Cold apparently, because that was the best one that he found.
Wasn't it like Jack Frost or like Icicle?
Yeah, those things.
Wasn't there something stupid like Ice Cream Man or something?
Maybe.
It was like 1996, baby, when you jumped over to WWE, right? So yeah, that wouldn't surprise me because they were probably still running through all their wonderful gimmicks back then.
Yeah, that would have definitely been around the time that we had the geniuses behind Max Moon.
Duke Drozy.
I'm just imagining the freaking award-winning tag team of Brutus the Barber Beefcake and the Ice Cream Man Steve Austin.
I mean, and Brutus's entire career was a fucking joke, so I guess it works out.
Yeah.
You know, I want to feel bad for the guy, but at the same time...
At the same time, he's best friends with Hogan, so, you know, I don't.
Yep. Wrestling.
It exists.
It certainly did.
Like, it's weird to think about wrestling, because, like, there are such moments of, like, greatness with Macho Man or Bret or, you know, so on. And yet, at the same time, a lot of time when we talk about wrestling, we don't talk about the good stuff so much. We usually talk about the dumpster fire and all the missed opportunities.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like, we just went from talking about Ted DiBiase Jr., a missed opportunity, to Brutus the Barber Beefcake, a dumpster fire.
I was going to call Brutus the dumpster beefcake, but I remembered. Oh right, that gimmick was taken.
That gimmick was already taken.
Yeah, it was around that time too, wasn't it?
Yep, Duke the Dumpster Drozy.
The next time they put that guy in one of the fucking games, Ed Leslie, I'm just gonna make him Brutus the Dumpster Beefcake. Brutus the Dumpster Fire Beefcake.
No, Brutus the Dumpster Beefcake, and he only fights in Inferno matches.
Oh no! And the entire arena stinks up when he gets eliminated.
Yeah.
Why does everything smell like shit now? Oh, Brutus got eliminated. Ooh.
So, where were we even before we got to wrestling?
That's a good question. I think we were talking about fucking the floor is lava. Florida is sinking.
Yeah.
Goodness, that was so long ago.
Oh.
And did we move on from that? Because I feel like
No,
we should
I
have.
think
Because
so, yeah.
No, it led to it led to reality TV, and reality TV led to
that's right.
fucking
Tough enough.
Boogeyman.
That's where this all went downhill.
yeah.
Gosh darn it, tough enough.
Blame it on the Boogeyman.
Blame it
Yeah.
on Boogeyman, exactly. Boogeyman, you bastard.
Right. The only other thing I did this week that I can recall immediately was not starving with you guys, but if you want, we can save that discussion for later and move on to whatever Addie's done this week.
Well, I mean, it went on recording.
You got cut off for me there, so I heard recording, and that was it.
It went on recording.
Okay.
So, yeah, we didn't starve. Except
Did anyone starve? 'Cause
Actually,
I feel like
Addie
there
did.
might have
Addie
been
did.
one starvation death.
Addie did starve at one point.
You starved multiple times. Goku starved at least once. I starved twice. So yeah, we starved.
Yeah, there's a reason why at the end of the session I was like, you know what? For the next game, I'm gonna pick a food-based character.
That's right. I remember I was in starvation a lot. I just don't remember it being the main cause of my death. I remember my main cause being fires and eating poison mushrooms.
And
Big
pigs.
man.
And pigs, yeah, that happened a lot as well.
I don't know why you picked up Addie's evil energy for that fucking particular session.
I don't know either, but when I spawned into the map, I thought the pig men were bad guys, so I just started smacking them, and then they killed me. And then you were like, oh, those pig guys, they aren't actually enemies. And I'm like, well, it's too late now.
Peace
I
was
had to
never
commit.
an option.
I just had to make that bacon.
Oh, man. Oh, I did find out a little something. Most of the pets that you can have in the game and the pigmen, if you befriend them, just being in their general or in their general vicinity, if they're befriended, will restore your sanity.
Ah, nice.
Oh, I like it.
However, murdering them reduces your sanity and increases your naughtiness. And once you hit a certain naughtiness threshold, Krampus shows up and will start looting your chests.
Once you hit a certain audience, Bayonetta shows up. You don't want that.
Or do you?
I know what I do.
Do you want Bayonetta to show up, Pink? I think you'd have PTSD with her.
I like her to show up if she's my ally, but outside of that, no, thank you.
Yeah. Well, if she's your ally, you just win the game.
True.
So yeah, as for what I did, I unlocked Aramusha. Aramusha is still the same.
Oh yeah, he's too OP. The power levels are just too ridiculous.
Yeah.
It can't be handled.
It's funny that blog post they put up, because it's like Aramusha is at the top win percentage, according to the data. Also, he's like mid to bottom of pick percentage. Yeah, I wonder, are people who are picking him good with him? You know, maybe that's why he's actually beating people, because only the people who are good at him at this point pick him. Like,
it's comparable to, like, let's say for Pink, Smash Brothers. Almost no one picks Jigglypuff, but everyone who picks Jigglypuff wins. What's happening here?
Right.
yeah, and so they keep either leaving Aramusha or nerfing him, because obviously since he's in the top win percentages, that means he's OP.
I want to say the same thing was happening with Symmetra back in early Overwatch when Symmetra absolutely sucked, but she had a very high win rate. I would always argue that the reason she has a high win rate is because the only people that play her are people that main her
all the time.
And if you main somebody, you're obviously going to be better than the average person who doesn't main that person. Because, it's not when you're facing off against somebody, you don't really have to worry about the guys who are jacks of all trades. The guys who are very, what is that? Versatile. Again, play any character they want. The person you really gotta be afraid of is that person who's got 1,000 hours logged into Symmetra, knows the ins and outs as well as they know the back of their hand, and will melt you from across the map, and scary things will happen. It's like, yeah, I remember they would not balance her for the longest time because she had such a high win rate. But I feel like if I'm remembering correctly, because I did argue with Soon about this at one point, if I remember correctly, she had a very low pick rate, but a very high win rate. And that was my argument, that the only people who actually play and win with Symmetra are people who only pick and win with Symmetra. I feel like that's probably the same situation they found themselves in with Armusha. That is a very similar situation to multiple ops in Rainbow Six. That is probably a similar situation to several gods in Smite. It's not a unique it's not a unique problem with these games. It is something that every game will experience, probably is experiencing or has experienced at some point, and will continue to do so until the end of time.
Yeah, but usually the dev's response isn't, well, this character who cannot get hits in against people normally because he's really predictable. This character deals like freaking half your health in one hit when he gets a hit in.
If he gets a hit in.
Yeah, that's the argument they're using for not giving him more tools.
Right, and
he has a shit ton of damage, which you can't use because you can't actually freaking hit people. But he has a shit ton of damage.
Yeah, I mentioned all those things earlier, but I fully stand with nerfing based on player feedback and not data. Because Symmetra was garbage for a very long time. Then they finally buffed her appropriately, and they continue to do so to this day, because she's still not great, or at least not last time I played. And similar things with, Rainbow Six, where they're just now getting around to nerfing and buffing a lot of operators that have been problematic, that they had only been buffing and nerfing based on data and not actual player feedback.
So here's the thing, Pink, by the way. Around the time that I quit For Honor, this might be the reason Rainbow Six was what's the word looking for, balanced around data. Around the time I quit For Honor, multiple people from the For Honor team got either what's the word, freaking out, moved to different teams, or they just left Ubisoft. Like the community manager straight up left Ubisoft and went to Microsoft. But yeah. I'm pretty sure one of the main balance guys from For Honor got moved to Rainbow Six. So that's where your data comes from.
Okay. Probably. Yeah, I disagree greatly for the most part with balancing based on data alone. Because I don't find data to be... It's reliable to an extent. But when you've got thousands of people complaining on Twitter that something is busted, something doesn't work right, the character isn't fun to play, I think you should be focusing all your efforts and your money towards fixing those things that are either broken or don't play well or don't play fun. Yeah, that's a big issue I had with Overwatch for a long time, and to this day, it was when they started balancing based on data and not balancing on making things fun to play.
Well, the trouble is the assumption that the fans don't bitch about what's actually imbalanced. The fans just bitch about whatever makes them mad.
That is true.
But I would think the solution to that is simply to make if there is a move that makes people mad, but it's got an obvious counter, just make it more obvious to people or explain it to people why it's obvious.
Yeah. And another issue that the UB is running into with balancing. It's not just balancing off of data, but it's balancing either solely off of data or balancing solely off of fan feedback. Because data shows that Hitokiri is not really a good character. Fan feedback suggested that the Hitokiri's hit move that insta kills people. Alright, well, it might not insta kill, but it does do a shit ton of damage, I think. That move was broken. People were complaining because they don't know how to dodge or something. I don't know. Maybe the checking is too hard on that. I don't freaking. I've never played against a Hitokiri, but people are complaining that move is broken, and the Hitokiri overall, aside from that feat, is very bad. So obviously they just nerfed the feat and just left the Hitokiri to rot. So
Yeah.
fan feedback isn't good sometimes either.
Yeah.
They should really try to find a balance where they look at the data, understand the data, look at the fan feedback, understand the fan feedback, and try to strike a balance between the two if the two don't overlap.
Right.
I think there's another thing to note here with the data being kind of misaligned on some characters where they have really low pick rates but higher win rates. Is that, like, okay, just to go for a fighting game example, and I know that I always make fighting game examples, but there's a rather famous match at EVO one year. There's this guy, Infiltration, who I've mentioned to you guys before. Beats his wife, shitty person, whatever. But he was known for maining Akuma. And he goes up against this Balrog player, I think, and he just utterly annihilates him. Every Akuma play Infiltration has, he knows it, he counters it, he beats it easily. So Infiltration, midway through the set, changes characters to Hakan, who was generally agreed to be a shit weirdo character that nobody played. But because he was a shit weirdo character that nobody played, Infiltration...
Nobody learned the tech.
Yeah, nobody knew what his tech was. Nobody knew how to counter him. People didn't bother to practice against him because they figured he was never going to see any playtime. So Hakan, even though he was kind of a shit character, wound up getting wins with Infiltration because people didn't play against Hakan and they didn't know what he did. And I would say Overwatch had the same thing, where Symmetra, people didn't play against Symmetra very often.
Mm-hmm.
If the defending team wanted a turret, they put Torbjorn, not Symmetra.
Yep.
And offensive Symmetra was even weirder.
Yeah.
So when you ran into a good Symmetra, like when you run into a good Torbjorn, you know what to do. You know, when you run into a good Symmetra, oh shit.
What is this character?
Yeah.
Is this new?
So yeah, there's that whole... what were we originally talking about? Oh,
Aramusha.
For Honor, yes. So anyways, Addy, For Honor.
Yeah, people are also complaining because they announced and promised that the year one heroes, so Gladiator, wait, was Glad DLC? I forget.
Glad was DLC.
Gladiator is definitely DLC because I would have
Yeah.
played him if he weren't.
Gladiator, Centurion, Better Peacekeeper, Shaman, that's her name. And Valkyrie was definitely not DLC. Who the hell else was DLC for the freaking Vikings? Whatever. So basically, all of the additional people, the first year people that were added to the teams, they would get new outfits. They announced this back when I was still playing For Honor for the first time around. Since then, they just now released new outfits for Centurion because he got reworked. And that's about it. Since then, the base heroes have gotten not one but two whole sets of armor, if not more.
Is that a continual problem that the base heroes keep getting updated and the other guys don't?
Yes.
Really, it's weird that they're updating the guys that you get for free, but not the paid guys.
Yeah, with the Centurion rework update, they added new like one or two new sets of armor for Centurion. They added like one set each for the year 3 heroes, and that's it. The base game heroes got one before I quit, and got one after I quit. So
Huh.
yeah,
I think maybe they were going with the mentality of more people have access to these base heroes, so let's give them purchasables.
but they're not even
Whereas,
purchasables. That's the
oh, are they
thinking.
not?
No,
That
that
is very interesting.
you just play the game and you get the costumes.
That is very interesting. I don't know what their train of thought was in. Maybe it's a good thing that they're not focused solely on the DLC in that aspect, but I don't know.
I mean, admittedly,
I
now
mean,
that I think about it,
there's not focusing solely on the DLC, and there's just not giving a shit about the DLC at all.
There's not focusing on DLC, and then there's not really paying attention to what your game is doing at all.
Yeah,
admittedly, now that I think about it, the 3 DLC factions for Warhammer 1 are still pretty shit. But the base factions for Warhammer 1 have been updated a ton. However, I have to assume it's kind of a false equivalency because the Warhammer 1 DLCs are not getting updated just because the devs have outright stated there is so much wrong with them that it requires so much more work to fix them than to fix anyone else.
yeah, and also I'm gonna assume in Warhammer you can't just pay in-game money to unlock the DLC characters and units.
No, you cannot.
If for other you can just pay you can just grind money in game and then just get them like that. You don't actually need to pay real money, so
So
they're basically base game characters.
there's way less benefit to them for giving extra motivation for you to pick up the DLC.
Yeah, they did it right with the Wooling in my opinion because they have a whole mode tied to them.
Ha!
The Wooling actually gave you freaking stuff in game that to make you want to spend the freaking $30 for the DLC.
Yeah,
And like
even
I
though they
guess
were
you could
mad OP when they launched.
yeah.
Are they
And
still?
like I guess yeah.
Are they still mad OP?
It doesn't seem so. The freaking the hookblade woman is still shit. I know that. The new hero because they got the new heavy. The new hero that they got is completely ass. Has never been not ass.
The great
So
sword characters are always kind of bad in that game, aren't they?
yeah. No, can't say it's fine.
Uh,
Kensei and Highlander actually are fine.
You always told me Kensei was shit.
No, Kensei is really good if you actually freaking find out how to play him. He just has a big freaking learning curve.
Oh, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
But yeah, can say in the right hands is a freaking mix-up beast.
And he can make it he gets armor on a lot of his hits too, doesn't he?
Well, some of them, yeah. And then Highlander just doesn't care. So
Oh right, Highlander is really good. Fuck, I forgot about that.
and I don't think anybody else has like great swords aside from those three. But yeah, the Jean Hu, it is a class. I fought multiple bots. Nobody plays them.
I mean, the bots are usually bot AI. Training the bots in a game to play all the characters is usually a pretty low priority.
No, I'm saying that I've only fought bots who play the Jean-Hu, because whenever I freaking play against people, nobody picks them.
Ah,
There's just better options. Especially now with Centurion being freaking broken again, apparently. Or at least close to it.
well, of course, he's the fucking cutscene character.
They're trying to move away from the cutscene. I mean, it didn't really work because I went into practice on the PS4 version and did the cutscene there. I mean, it's probably not as good as it was, but you can still do it.
I mean, it's probably why, like, even though, like, they made, what's his face? The Halberdier for the Knights.
Bro.
Lawbro. Yeah, Lawbro, like, to me, seemed like he was designed to be the noob eater, but Centurion fits into that a lot better. Because if he makes the right gamble, if he makes the right choice in just one moment, he kills you. So
Yeah,
you have to try and make...
That's definitely not true anymore. That's definitely not true anymore.
Oh, okay.
They have done away with that. I think you now need like two or 1.5 cutscenes to kill a guy.
Okay.
So it's not ideal, but it's better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's like I'm playing the game and I'm just noticing things that they changed when I quit, and those changes have not been addressed. Like freaking revenge. You guys wouldn't know this because you quit before me. Revenge got changed, so revenge now sucks. Just straight up bad.
People always hated revenge though.
But revenge is the only way to end the gang. So
Right. I mean, like ganking was. I was always vocal about the fact that I felt ganking was the worst part of that game. Because to me, it was always just a fighting game, and I know that's something that we disagreed on at the time. But like, at the same time, at that time, like, if you're going to have like 4-person games, then really, like, especially if you're trying to make it MOBA-esque, like, ganks in fucking MOBAs are brutal for a reason, and it's a thing of don't fall for the ganks, you know?
but the thing with For Honor is that the actual levels aren't built big enough for you to not fall for the gangs, because you don't fall for the gangs just appear on you. So
Oh yeah, I mean, MOBA.
yeah, that's why.
If
Yeah,
For Honor is a MOBA, it's a MOBA that skips the fucking laning phase and
yeah,
immediately goes straight to team fight.
yeah. But so like the thing with revenge used to be that people abused it because revenge attacks exists, and um it was also strong. So they nerfed revenge overall, and then they realized, oh shit, revenge attacks was was the thing that caused the issue, where all of the people who had it could just not die. So then they nerfed revenge attacks as well, and now revenge is just doubly useless to them because not only not only is revenge overall just not powerful enough, but also revenge attacks takes up a feed slot, and it's a useless feed slot because you shouldn't pick it.
Huh. Oh, that is a game that had some interesting ideas, but boy, just what a clusterfuck, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even before I quit, the sentiment of the community was, well, really, I'm only playing For Honor because there's no game that came and did the thing but better.
Yeah, if somebody did, like, if somebody with more, like, I don't know, game design and balance competence took a shot at For Honor, they could absolutely destroy the game, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Pink, would you definitely agree with that? That For Honor had some really interesting ideas, but it was a fucking clusterfuck of balance and game design.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I look back on my time with that game fondly. I don't want to go back because I remember the problems, but I look back on my time with the game fondly, you know?
It's like there were some aspects that was like, yeah, I think it could make a good game. The one-on-one combat was very enjoyable for the most part. For the most part, not all the time, but there were some moments there where I found myself having fun. But the stupid laning, if you want to call it that, was completely unnecessary. I was not fond of ganking. It was stupid. I thought that game didn't work well in a 4-on-4 setting. I don't think I liked anything else outside of the triangle combat system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish. I'm still of the opinion that they should just rip the freaking combat system from For Honor and to put it into Assassin's Creed. It would be better than what we have now.
It'd be a really interesting addition to Assassin's Creed.
Because like I think like the combat system is legitimately the only reason I freaking even came back to the game.
Oh,
I'm gonna
definitely.
be honest. And I just wish it was in a better game, or like made in a game made by people who actually freaking know what the hell's going on. But yeah. So I also played Injustice. It exists.
How did that go for you?
Yeah, W.
No,
Did
no,
you?
no. It's a. Hang on, I'm doing something on my end. Sorry.
All right.
Oh. Oh.
But yeah, so I went through most of the cast. Decided I don't like most of the cast,
That's fair.
mechanics wise. Like I like most of the characters because it's really just Batman fight. But
Yeah, Injustice has always had the problem of Batman focus, but Injustice 1 was real fucking bad about it.
yeah,
Half of the villains are Batman villains or something crazy like. Well, not half, but it's a quarter.
yeah. And so like I like most of these characters, but then we get to the freaking the MKisms, and it's it makes it hard to enjoy sometimes because Negative Edge, from what I can tell, you can't truly turn off Negative Edge. You can just make it dumber. But like if I do an input really fast, that it or like in what it considers really fast, then sometimes my inputs just get freaking put together into one and stuff like that. Even with the more uh complex input schemes that you can choose.
Which I still have not taken a look at, and I really should.
It makes the game harder. It genuinely does.
Huh.
It's funny. It's really funny freaking playing Zatanna and doing Chun-Li kicks on half circle forward.
Yikes.
I actually don't mind it because it makes it so there's technically more of a buffer between inputs. Makes the timing feel more precise when it's not really not. Like I booted the game up without freaking changing anything, the inputs or anything, that it was all on default. Booted the game up, went into practice, chose Raven because I don't remember ever playing Raven. Immediately started doing Ermac combos because I was like, well, it's Raven, it's probably Ermac, and I was right.
Right. Raven didn't come back for Injustice 2, so Pink, you wouldn't know her.
Nope.
Imagine, like, command grabs, like Bane, right?
Right.
She
But
doesn't
full
need to
screen.
grab you. Full screen.
If you're not blocking, then
Oh,
you're just
no.
thrown.
Doesn't one of her grabs work as an anti-air even at full screen?
Yes. But even if she meter burns it, well, she can't meter burn it, so it can't launch you back. It can only throw you away.
Okay. Well, that is what she wants, though. Raven is very definitely a zoner in that game.
I don't know, dude. I'm pretty sure I played some sort of freaking weird rushdown with her. Then again, I play some sort of weird rushdown with everyone. I play Zatanna rushdown.
Raven's fighting build is just called Winner.
Well, Zatanna is absolutely a fucking possible rushdown character. Doesn't she have the Yun or Yang super speed thing?
I don't think she does. She has what her super mode is freaking just zoner mode basically. You can turn on zoning. And otherwise, she has some pretty good strings that link into each other, and also Chun-Li kicks. Like I forget the name of the super, but if you meet her burn her Chun-Li kicks, it's legitimately her freaking super from Third Strike.
Ah, right. Yeah, I don't remember the name either. Damn it.
Yeah.
Injustice 1, I'm sure one thing you've noticed is that Injustice 1 came from an era where NetherRealm didn't care as much about balance.
Yeah, I've also noticed some other weird things, such as the um this car system, I guess, or whatever. From MK9.
Oh, yeah.
How people's clothes get damaged and they start to bleed and shit.
Battle damage, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the battle damage system for Mortal Kombat. I think it doesn't look as good on superheroes because superheroes are supposed to be these impervious beings, even the ones who aren't.
I mean, Superman. When Superman fought Doomsday in the comics, he came out looking pretty fucked up. And then he died.
And then he died.
But like it's really weird, freaking like watching Superman of all people being thrown around by Raven, and then Superman just looks like he was freaking hit by like 15 trucks
Raven
at the same time.
Raven absolutely would kick Superman's ass. Superman's weak to
Ah.
magic.
Oh right, I forgot.
Not only that, Raven is one of those characters who has hypothetically got no power limit. Like the sky is the limit for her power. The real power limiter is just that if she does it too much, her dad takes over. You know,
Yeah, the power limiter is Trigon.
which is always a big difference between Marvel and DC. Is that in DC the magic characters have pretty crazy powers, but they tend to have pretty crazy limiters too.
Yeah.
Whereas over in Marvel, Doctor Strange has no power limiters, so in order to counter him, they just throw him against fucking old gods.
But yeah, so that's what I tried Lobo. I feel like I would like Lobo more if he actually had more than 2 grabs. Like, he has 3, but one of them barely exists.
As much as I love Lobo, Lobo is infamous for the fact that he competes with Joker for the title of most trash tier character in the game.
Ah, okay, so I wasn't freaking imagining things. That's good to know.
Lobo's considered... Lobo is very definitely considered competitively non-viable.
But yeah, what else? Martian Manhunter exists. Martian Manhunter is. That's basically all you need to know. Be scared.
Okay, so Pink, you know how in the comics, when you think about it, Martian Manhunter is one of the most OP characters?
Yeah.
He is. He is.
He's got everything. He's got command grabs. He's got stretchy limbs. He's got teleporting, flying, shooting lasers out of his fucking eyes, telekinesis bullshit. You know what I really don't understand about Martian Manhunter?
Yeah.
He's got heat vision that sets fires.
Oh, I get where you're going with this.
What is Martian Manhunter famously weak to?
Ice.
Yeah.
Vanilla ice specifically. Martian Manhunter is really scared of vanilla ice.
It's still, I have to admit, like, I do appreciate that at least for Martian Manhunter to be as OP with his powers as possible, that he has the lamest weakness. I remember there being a dialogue scene where Batman is talking to Martian Manhunter and he says, you know, my emergency, just in case thing to deal with Superman if he ever goes crazy, I had to spend millions of dollars getting a space rock. You know what I have to spend to stop you? $1 to get a fucking Bic lighter.
That is taken almost directly verbatim from Darwin Cook's The New Frontier.
Did not know that.
Yep.
Huh.
Great story. I highly recommend it.
The most tragic thing about Injustice 1 is that one of my favorite DC characters is Martian Manhunter, but I don't want to play him because I don't like his kit. Like, he has everything, but it doesn't feel good to play as him.
Yeah. I love Martian Manhunter. I can't fucking play him. You can do anything with him, really. It's... You don't know what to do because he can do anything.
Yeah.
Should I zone? Should I rush down? Should I turtle? I don't know.
All of the above. That's the thing I'm running into with the freaking with Injustice continuously with both of them really, but especially the first one now that I've put some actual time into it, is that like I like this character. Oh, I don't like their playstyle. I like this character. Oh, I don't like their playstyle. I like this character, and then that just goes on for hours.
Injustice.
Like yeah.
No, go ahead.
Like I like the Flash. The Flash feels like shit. I like Martian Manhunter. He has too much. He is too much. I like Raven. Raven plays like Ermac, so I play Raven usually, but even she doesn't feel too good because their normals aren't great. I like Zatanna.
Yeah. I mean, Flash feels a lot better in Injustice 2 because he has a lot better actual close range tools, but he's still a rather strange character to play.
I like how one of Flash's specials is just the worst kick I have ever seen in a video game.
That fucking kick that is only worth it for the meter burn.
Yeah.
I've never seen a more transparent case of a move only existing for its EX variation. Oh, you know what? Donkey kick. Donkey kick for Ryu. That's another bad case of only existing for the EX variation.
I didn't even know the Donkey Kick had an EX version.
Yeah, that's the wall bounce version.
Ah, okay.
Otherwise, it's just crazy knockback. So, Pink, you remember playing Flash, right?
Right.
You remember his stupid little kick?
Uh-huh. It's the one where he jumps in there, does pedal kicks, right?
No!
Which kick?
The one where he just, like, does a little, like, I don't know, kick to the nuts, almost.
Ah.
I don't blame you for not remembering it.
No. It's like, I remember several kicks of his. I just don't remember a kick to the balls, but I wish I did.
I mean,
It's really bad. It's a really bad looking Pink.
the trouble is that Flash in Injustice 2 has a better combo extender anyways, with the little spinny arms thing.
Oh yeah, the freaking Baraka. But yeah, like, I was even like, you know what? I played Arrow in Injustice 2. Maybe I can just play Arrow in Injustice 1. Oh, they didn't add his freaking the best move he has in that game. Because he has the bow spin, which I really liked, but the X version didn't exist.
Oh, right.
And then other than that, all he has is zoning, and I'm well known for zoning. So yeah, Injustice 1 exists. I think that's all I've done.
Alright. On my end, I haven't done a great degree. Put in time with Dark Souls 3. Still
That's
trying
right.
out different play styles. So I heard magic was nerfed quite a bit in Dark Souls 3 and quite bad. That is certainly the truth. You can I'm just playing through as a faith magic based miracles, right? Pretty much a cleric, right?
Yeah.
So he has spells that heal. They don't heal that much, and they take half your mana. Alternatively, you can take damage spells that do no damage.
You can do a damage spell that takes half of your health and does 3 points of damage.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things of overcompensation, because magic was too strong in Dark Souls 2. And furthermore, taking a magic build was pretty much the way to go with Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. Because if you're a melee guy, you have to get in there. Which is a problem, because Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin loves ganking. Fucking loves it. But if you're playing magic, you don't have to. Just bombard the assholes with magic from a distance. Congrats, you no longer have to deal with that. So
You can get them instead now.
Yeah. And I haven't got too far and too high level with this, so maybe it's one of those things where, like, later on, wizards get way stronger. Because, I mean, there are a lot of RPGs where wizards start off shit and then they become the strongest members of the party later, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. I also haven't unlocked too many of the fancy spells. So we'll see. I have been thinking a lot on the Total War series. As you can probably tell by the fact that excuse me. Oh, God. Sudden spurt of burps. There we go. Alright. So, as you can probably tell, I've been trying to think on, like, Total War and, like, the gameplay and the precise tactics of it. As you can tell by the fact that I decided randomly to upload a couple, like, hey, I'm just going over the basics of this army type videos to my channel.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much my entire channel is just I get suddenly hit by, like, oh, I'm going to make a video doing this. But I've been running through each of the Total Wars trying to look into sieging, fighting cities in that game. Because that's really important to look into that for me. Because sieging cities in Total War Warhammer sucks ass. And I could get into the precise details, but Soon's not here and you guys don't know that. Well, like, Addy, you've put in time with Total War Shogun. So you've
I've
done
never got to see Sieging Castle.
okay. Well, Shogun's probably got the the simplest sieges, because since the Japanese castle is partially built on the same level as the walls, you can't knock down the walls.
Ah, yeah.
So instead, you can either knock down the gate and go through there, or just have your guys climb up the walls. Siege towers just don't exist in that game, and artillery isn't so much used to knock down walls, and so on. I haven't put in that much time with Shogun 2's sieges, though. I'll have to talk more about that later, I guess. Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Oh no, nothing.
Oh, okay. Now, if you look... I'm having long pauses between when I speak because someone has handed me food. And it's going to get cold very soon. Terribly sorry about that. But one of the major things is, about 5 or 6 years ago, Total War Rome 1 was put on sale for $1. And I was like, alright, I'll try this one out because Soon loves the Total War series so much, I'll get to see what he's talking about. I started up. Total War Rome 1 has aged very, very poorly.
Ah.
Now, it's a good thing that we don't have many viewers on here, because Rome 1 is probably the most nostalgic game in the series for a lot of people. And it pretty much established the modern formula.
I mean, just because something establishes a lot of good things doesn't mean that it stays good all throughout all of existence.
Yeah.
For example, Seinfeld or the Beatles.
Yeah. And the real problem is that Rome 1 was immediately followed up by Medieval 2, and Medieval 2 is better in every way. The graphics in Rome 1 are god awful. The people are just like the worst fucking PS1 people. And later Total Wars had it where every unit of 120 men, there were 9 or 10 different soldier models for that unit. Like, you got a unit of, let's say, I don't know, British Knights. There are 10 different British Knight models mixed into the unit. So that when you look at a unit of British Knights, you don't see 120 of the same fucking dude. Rome 1 didn't have that. So you look at a pack of 120 plebeians in Rome, and they are all dudes with the same brown leather cap, the same red robes, and a black goatee.
So what you're telling me is that you could import and make it believable if you were to import the freaking condom monsters from Silent Hill.
Yes.
Someone should do that. They've probably done it already, but yeah, someone should do that.
Yeah. It looks terrible. And historical accuracy was not a thing back then, I guess. It's really bad for Egypt. Because Egypt at the time of Rome was pretty much just Greece. Like, Pink, you know that better than me, right?
Right.
Like, by that time it was the Ptolemaic dynasty, so it was pretty much just Greek dudes in Egypt.
Yeah.
They accurately represented that in Rome, too. But in Rome 1, fuck no. It's Ramses II up in this bitch. At a time when they would have dropped all that chariot stuff in favor of, hoplites and phalanxes and all that, for some reason Rome is going and fighting the same Egyptians that enslaved the Hebrews. Okay. Yeah. And the sieges, for whatever reason, running on siege maps. So this game came out in 2003, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Most of my PC was built in probably 2014. The graphics card probably is from 2018. I don't know. But I opened up this game from 2003, and I opened up the Rome map, the Rome siege map, to test how sieges are in this game. Oh my god, the frames. The frames. Like, why? This game's old as dicks. Like, Jesus. And Medieval 2 was just better in every way. Oh, and another thing. Roster diversity. Like, having roster diversity in Total War is pretty important, so that you can have new, unique, different unit combinations and see how they interact and how they can form an army composition and all that. And Shogun 2 had it an interesting way. With Shogun 2, most every clan has the same set of units, except for 1 or 2 unique units. But what unit roster that everyone shares is still very diverse in itself. So there's like Ashigaru, there's warrior monks, there's samurai, there's ninja, there's mangonels, there's all kinds of cavalry, right, Addy?
Yeah.
Rome 1, boy, I sure hope you enjoy 10 different types of legionaries.
I mean, I don't know too much about ancient warfare, but that's basically all I know about freaking ancient warfare. It was just hoplite and legionaries and peasants, maybe.
And Medieval 2, like, Pink, I know you've not cracked open your copy of Medieval 2, but, like, the unit variety in that game is absolutely absurd.
Oh, nice.
And especially, like, they actually went to the trouble of dividing it up into time periods for, like, oh, early Middle Ages, high Middle Ages, late Middle Ages. So, like, the unit roster for just England is, like, 40 different units. Rome 1 just did not age well. It didn't. And the last thing I want to talk about is, let's see. You know, I was about to start talking... Persona 4, right, Persona 4. So, Persona 4 Golden went ahead and released on Steam.
Yeah.
And, you know how I said Soon shouldn't get me a birthday gift?
Yeah.
One of the chief things you should learn in life is if you want somebody to not get you a gift, don't tell them. Because that's seen as a challenge.
Yeah.
So,
true.
An hour after that podcast went up, they released Persona 4 Golden to Steam. Soon immediately bought it for me. Which was incredibly nice of him. And now means that I have to one-up him next time I need to get him a gift. Because now it's a contest, motherfucker.
Yeah, you know, I'm thinking about trying to get you something as well, but Steam.
It is fine, man. What I'm hoping for is that the Steam sales got good sales on multiplayer games that are
Yeah.
like along the same lines as, you know, Don't Starve Together in terms of the fact that we will be able to actually run them.
Yeah. But the thing with Steam as well is that Steam, even though Steam recognizes that I'm in Hungary, Steam doesn't recognize the Hungarian currency. It only recognizes euros. So I actually have to pay more to buy games on Steam because conversion.
Ooh. Yeah, that sounds dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Steam it ain't perfect. Especially since Valve gave up on making their own shit.
I mean, they did Alex, whatever that.
That's true.
People are saying that. People are saying that's okay.
I've heard it's fantastic, but it's VR, so you don't get to play it.
Yeah. That actually, people are making VR-less modes for people to experience it somewhat, and then if they can afford VR, they can play it on that and then enjoy it better.
If there was a really successful VR-less mod, I actually probably would shell out the cash for Half-Life Alyx.
I don't know if it's done yet, but I have heard people talking about it and showcasing it, how it runs. People are basically modding Half-Life 2 and Alyx together, so you will be able to play Alyx without a VR headset and experience it somewhat like that. Also, potentially play Half-Life 2 in VR.
So we live in a day and age where we have got Duke Nukem Forever, a Half-Life sequel, Mountain Blade Bannerlord, and Shaq Fu 2.
Yeah.
What a
This timeline isn't so bad after all.
What a time to be alive. So yeah, Persona 4 Golden. Persona 4, I've often considered it my favorite Persona game. But it's one of those things where the longer I spend away from it, the more, like, I kind of forget it. But then when I go back and play it, I'm like, oh, this is so fucking good. Right? You guys got games like that?
Is Persona 4 the one with Dorkun?
No, that's Persona 3.
Ah, okay.
And that is a massive spoiler, but the game is, like, 14 years old now.
It's for the one with Cherkun.
Cherkun.
That might be 5. That might be 5.
No one gets turned into a chair, so...
Oh no, I'm talking about mods, because there's on the vein of Dorkun, there's a guy who's modding all of the personas and making different furniture into the PC. So I don't remember what 4 has, but 5 has like Chaircon, I think.
That may have something to do with, like, I don't know, the marketing campaign for Persona 5 earlier on showed a bunch of chairs locked together, so it may have something to do with that.
Yeah.
The Persona 3 main character getting turned into a door is very much a joke that is accurate to the plot and is a huge spoiler. But I mean, at this point, like, Persona 3's been out for 14 years, but at the same time, it's only available for PS2 and the PSP, so it's not accessible.
PS3.
So the Persona 4 Golden releasing on Steam is massive because Golden up to this point was a Vita exclusive.
Yeah.
Like, I loved Persona 4, and I wanted to play Golden. And at one point, I was almost like, man, what if I just, like, bought a used Vita just to play Golden? But eventually I decided, no, that's unreasonable. So I'm really fucking happy that it's here.
You know, I actually have to compliment Atlus on their copyright thing with this, because with Persona 5, remember, nobody actually played the game on YouTube or streamed it because Atlus was real quick to take them down. Now, they released a statement on Twitter saying, you know, we get that this game is old, but it did just release and some people didn't play it. So if you want to stream it or upload videos on YouTube or whatever, please don't upload the ending and just put spoiler in the title, and that's fine, or should be fine anyway.
There have been spoiler ass videos for Persona 4 on YouTube since 2008.
Yeah.
There was one very big plot note that I got spoiled on huge by that. So going back to Persona 4 Golden, though, they made a lot of changes, unsurprisingly. One of the bigger ones was that the character of Chie, they entirely changed her voice actor.
Yeah, I really like that because they changed her into a more Japanese style voice actor, right?
Well, the original voice, she was had a bit of a deeper voice, and she was a bit more, I don't know, laid back and casual. And there are some times where I'll admit, like, it's one of those things where I'm starting to warm up to the new voice over time and understanding, like, some of the ways she's better. But yes, the new actress they chose is often a lot more shrill and high-pitched. But I get that part of it, like, they focus on different aspects of the character, right? Because Chie's thing from the beginning is that she's a bit masculine and she has problems with, like, people perceiving her as masculine instead of feminine, right?
Yeah.
So going with the deeper voiced voice actress at first was probably trying to play into that. The trouble was that she was so laid back and casual and confident sounding, it didn't play into the other aspect of Chie, which is that she's an idiot. And the shrill voice makes her sound a lot dopier in a way that does fit the character. There's one moment that's very important near the end of Persona 4 where she goes, "Oh, hey guys, I don't know if I'm just having one of my dumbass Chie moments, but this thing happened." And when I first saw that dialogue, I was like, dumb Chie moment? Oh, she is supposed to be dumb, right. The voice performance did not constantly remind me of the character trait, you know?
Yeah. So technically it could be considered better because it conveys the character better, but maybe too much.
There's also an aspect to it that has changed significantly, but I think it was partly just the directing. There is a part very early on in Persona 4, which I'm cool spoiling because it happens so early, so it's not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
But you get to... Persona 4 is about fighting, like, people's evil equivalents that are really just their inner thoughts, right?
Yeah, that is Persona, yes.
And Chie runs into... Chie and the 3 other male characters, one of whom is Teddy, a walking mascot, run into a shadow version of Chie's best friend, who says, "Oh, I have 3 handsome princes here to take me away from all this, and for the loves of my life," or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And originally in that scene in Persona 4, Chie just goes, "Wait, is she talking about me?" Like, in a confused way of, like, I don't want to be a prince, fuck that. And they leave it ambiguous whether the third prince is her or the cute little mascot, right?
Yeah.
In Golden, no. she says, "Wait, is one of the princes me?" Almost as if she's raising one eyebrow. Huh. Consider me intrigued, miss. You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. And then the mascot is like, "No, obviously it's me." And then the girl just straight up, the shadow just straight up says, "No, of course not. It's not the fucking mascot. Of course it's Chie." Like, Persona 4, the original Persona 4 was very heavy on homoerotic subtext with the guys, which was a very intentional part of several of their characters. But there was like, maybe you could read into it a little bit that Chie's best friend was into her, whereas they fucking egg it on in this game.
Yeah, now it's JoJo's. Now everyone's gay for everyone.
Everyone's
regardless
gay
of anything.
except for the transgender guy. Naoto's definitely super straight. Rise is super straight. And you probably don't know who Rise is because she's not playable in Arena.
Yeah, probably not. Is Risa the navigator?
Yes.
Then I know who Risa is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I call Rise super straight because she's got one of my favorite, like... I appreciate when video games handle, like, the romance arc idea a little more differently. Typically, like in RPGs, when they have romance options, it's always just, you know, go collect 10 bear axes for the sex scene, right?
Yeah.
And, like, they are completely platonic outside of the specific romance scenes that you have to force, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what I always liked about Rise is that, no, she's romancing you. You'll be in the middle of a perfectly normal cutscene, and she is like, "Hey! So what are you doing tonight?" And you just can be like, alright then.
Yeah, usually, like, I don't know. In the anime I watch, usually that's how it goes. But then I don't watch most anime. And when I see excerpts, it's not that. So I want to say that that's how most people deal with that when they want to do a different kind of romance equivalent, but I don't freaking know.
I mean, for RPGs, it's not usually done because people can often find it annoying, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I remember with the first Dragon Age, a lot of people got pissed at Zevran because Zevran was always flirting with the main character. But
I don't know, because I just feel like that's more characterization.
it is. It is. Well, I mean, Dragon Age Origins came out in, like, what, 2007? And Zevran's a dude. So, like, at that time, people might have been more uncomfortable with that playing a dude character and having a dude elf flirt with them, you know?
Yeah.
Even though I'm pretty sure you can tell Zevran to shove it. But, anyways, to get back to the point, I think I've pretty much already said what I wanted to say about Persona 4. I'll keep playing it, probably for a good while, because it's a fucking Persona game. How long did it take for you to beat Persona 5, Addy?
A week? Maybe 1.5
How many hours, though?
hours. I want to say like 300, somewhere around there.
300? Holy fuck.
I don't freaking remember. I remember seeing 300 on one of my files, but that might have been the one that I played through through a second time. So.
You went through New Game Plus?
Most of it, yeah.
Huh, I didn't. I wanted to, but then Persona 5 Royale rumors started circling, so I was like, fuck, I'll just wait for Persona 5 Royale.
Yeah, I wanted to play through Persona 5 again, and then I got up to a point and I was like, you know what, I don't want to play through Persona 5 again.
That's one of the big differences between Persona 4 and Persona 5 is that Persona 5 has so many forced sections of, no, you don't get to decide what you do today. You're gonna go fucking mope around or mess with Yusuke or something.
Yeah. I mean, Yusuke's fine. It's just when freaking Ryuji at all. When Ryuji at all.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to bore Pink to death here, because I know he just doesn't give a shit, but like, we could have arguments about most of the Persona cast, honestly.
Yeah.
They are strong characters that can be divisive and controversial, which I consider an upside to the series. Because I love Ryuji.
They actually are characters instead of just being there.
Yes, very much so. And that does cause the things of like, oh, you don't like Ryuji, I love Ryuji, you know?
Yeah.
I will Google up a character, adopt it, and then we can argue about it.
Yeah. Oh, what character would Addy...
You already have a character, Pink. It's Baiken. It doesn't matter which game, it's Baiken.
I don't know about
All
that.
right.
I feel like Pink would love Kanji as much as I do. Kanji is just the fucking best. Kanji is probably my favorite RPG party member ever, of all time, both for Western and Eastern RPGs.
Well, that's gotta be good.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
My favorite team member in any RPG is still Frog.
Oh, Frog from Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Wasn't his thing, even though he's a frog man, he's still like an honorable knight or an honorable samurai or something?
Yeah, he's an honorable knight.
Is there not...
I think I named him Kermit.
Ah!
Which made him a lot more funnier.
Is there not a scene where, like, Frog runs into his nemesis, and he tells everybody else in the party, leave, this is my fight, and they actually do, and you just play as Frog 1v1ing the boss?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Not enough RPGs have moments like that.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger was a lot of fun. Chrono Trigger is the exception that proves the rule that I don't like RPGs. Like Chrono Trigger is such a good game that I could actually play through it despite it being an RPG.
Yeah. I think it's really high marks for a game when it can get somebody to love it, even if they aren't a fan of that genre.
Yeah.
I don't really consider myself a lover of RPGs. In fact, I'd say I dislike most because I find them to be very grind heavy. But I fucking love Persona 4. Persona 5 Arena win, Atlas.
People now that Persona 4 re-released, people are messaging Atlas about Persona 4 Ultimax Ultimax on freaking Steam.
I'd love to see that, but I'd also want them to switch it out for the Japanese name. I have told you guys what the Japanese name is for Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, right?
You might have, but I forgot.
I forgot as well, but it's probably something I remember when you say it.
Persona 4 Arena Ultra Suplex Hold.
Ah, yeah.
I love it.
Japan does a lot of stupid stuff that pisses me off, but every now and then they do something stupid that I love.
I'm pretty sure we could just spend the whole freaking we could just make a whole video reading Japanese wrestler names. Like I found the guy and he was like Killer Bomb Tiger.
I was always disappointed that in the West they would take Thunder out of Jushin Thunder Liger, you know?
Yeah. I didn't even know that Jushin Thunder Liger lost the Thunder here or there. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, Pink, didn't when Jushin Liger came over to wrestle for WCW, he was just Jushin Liger?
I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Okay, then they probably actually added the Thunder back in when the WWE re-shows of whenever he had a match in WCW came over here with Gene.
Huh. Alright. So I think we can call that a podcast.
Yeah, bye.
God damn it.
The greatest mix-up.
We'll see you later, I guess. Fuck.